Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my review for Possessors. So dear viewer, I've got a little bit of a confession to make. I am not in a good mood. Not only do I have a headache that feels like I've got an incredibly small man armed with a bloody sledgehammer living inside my skull, but I've just spent the last 17 hours playing Possessor. And I'm here to tell you, dear viewers, that this is one of the most disappointing games I have played this year. And in fact, I could safely say that this was a complete and utter waste of my time. In fact, I would rather have spent 17 hours shaving an incredibly large gorilla, because at least I would have got something out of that. But before I get too negative, let's review this bloody video game the only way I know how. Badly. And let's start with the game's story. We play as Luca, a host, and Rem, her less than cooperative counterpart, who just so happens to be a demon, as they explore a quarantine city ripped apart and flooded by an interdimensional catastrophe. Their only hope of survival is by learning to coexist. So let's get this over with as quickly as possible. Let's start with what I actually liked about this game. The game opens with a rather splendidly animated cutscene, which gets the story going in just the right way. I also quite like the central concept at the center of the game, a demon possessing a human, in the hope that said human can find a way for said demon to get home. I also think that the game is rather good looking. Not Ava Green levels of good looking, but good looking nonetheless. And the combat was pretty fun. Right, so let's get to the uncooked meat and tinned potatoes of this review. What I didn't like about this game so much. This, sadly, is yet another bloody metroidvania. And while there are some metroidvanias that I enjoy very much, Symphony of the Night, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Cookie Cutter, Fist Forged in Shadow Torch, among a few others. But for the most part, most Metroidvanias are absolute slogs. And I'm sad to say that Possessors is no different. You'll spend many hours just trying to figure out where the hell to go and what the hell to do. You'll encounter dead end after dead end, or areas you can't get to because you haven't picked up the bloody power-up that's needed to get past that particular section. Save points are more spread out than a bloody escort's legs. And often you'll die in the middle of a bloody area and then have to go all the way back to a save point and navigate your way through dozens of areas you've just made your way through, fighting the same bloody enemies again that you just spent all that time killing. It is infuriating. And while a lot of that can be elevated by feeding us bits of the story, maybe a couple more cutscenes, but in my 17 hours playing this bloody thing, I never saw a single cutscene that lived up to anything like the opening of the game. And the story? I already told you the story. Even 17 hours with this bloody thing didn't progress the story in any meaningful way. Like I said, the combat is fine, but running through the same bloody areas, trying to figure out where the hell to go, fighting all the enemies again, is an absolute chore. I didn't just dislike this game, I absolutely despised it. Which is a horrible shame because I thought the game looked pretty good. That was, of course, before I downloaded the bloody thing and then realized it was another goddamn Metroidvania. No, dear viewers, this game was not for me at all. Therefore, I declare that Possessors is dog shit. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my review for Possessors. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming.
Are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.